Now, the second muscle car or pony car war was in the early 2000s. Now, let me explain what this means before I get to the '05, the S197 generation of Mustang. Now, when the LS powered fourth gen F bodies arrived, the WS6 and the SS of the fourth generation, they were kicking the dog piss out of the Mustangs. I'm talking about Fox bodies and SN95s. Anything Ford was pretty much getting their ass mopped. Unless it was like some big block Ford 460 drag car that was just hand built. But we're talking about straight from factory now. Chevy was kicking everybody's ass. Ford's response was the '03 to '04 Terminator Cobra. Now, this absolute behemoth of a Ford can be considered like pretty much the top 5 greatest Ford vehicles of all time. Reason why is because this 4.6 four valve per cylinder monster could make 800 plus horsepower on an unopened block. The only restraint was the little ass blower that was sitting on top of the Terminator Cobra. Then came the S197 generation. Now, we're not going to talk about the GT500 because that's a whole nother story. We're going to focus on the 300 plus horsepower Mustang GT of the S197 generation. Now, the reason why this is so underpowered is simply because this vehicle was a victory lap for Ford. Ford wasn't trying to compete with anybody. I mean, the S197 GT looked at the GTOs and went, you know what? I'm not even trying to compete with you. I'm better than you. You're not even a Camaro. You got your brother clothes on. But you can make power with these things. It just take a little bit of finesse. Cam phaser lockouts. Thumper NSR cam, but you will need a 2500 plus stall for these type of cams. But the best part about it is you don't need valve springs. It works with your factory valve springs. That's what the NSR stands for. No springs required, for those that don't know. The weakest part, now I mean weak, the weakest part of these 4.63 valves are going to be the rods and pistons. Over 500 horsepower, at 500 horsepower, you're going to have some major problems. You're going to throw more rod than a stud with a strap on after 4 shots of Henny along with your gal. ID 1050 injectors. Now, there are multiple standalones you can use, but the Holley HP management system seems to be the one that everybody goes after. So after your ARP head and main studs and things of that nature, you get everything done that you need to. As far as boost, you have 2 options. Either you can go with this 2.6 liter Kenny Bell supercharger, or you can go with an OHM 3 single turbo kit. You also have things like nitrous and pro chargers, but to keep it simple, the pro chargers or the Kenny Bell will be easier since you don't have to worry about routing a lot of piping everywhere. Another route you could take is the Coyote swap route. Now, you can find these first-gen Coyotes from anywhere from like $2,300 to $5,000 or $6,000 like this one right here. And this one comes with long tube headers and the MT82 transmission. Now, from what I know, if you're going the manual route, you only need a body harness to run the Coyote, along with like a good fuel pump. You can go like 240 or 340 LPH fuel pump, some ID 1050X injectors, long tube headers like these right here. I mean, it'll all fit because the '05 to 2009 generation of the Mustang literally sit on the same chassis as the first gen Coyote Mustang. So you don't have to get any special mounts. You just buy a Coyote and drop it in your '05 Mustang GT. You're also going to need something like a better gear ratio, 373 gears. If you want to run 14 gears, that's entirely up to you. If you want to just, if you want a car that feels like it's skating on ice, yeah, 410 is for you. Now, if you're using a 6R80 or a 10R80 transmission, then you're definitely going to need to consider buying like Power by the Hour's full Coyote swap kit. They have transmission and engine control. So now, before anybody comments, I'm not trying to deter anybody from building the 4.63 valve. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from building this thing. It's just with the advancement of technology since then, it just makes building a 4.63 valve redundant. You can make 700 to 800 horsepower. There are people making 8,000 and putting T56 Magnum XL transmissions behind them. But you're going to spend more money trying to get that level of power out of these things versus going with a Coyote, giving it better fueling and a I don't know, 2.3 or 2.9 liter supercharger, 2.6 liter Whipple. It's just that easy with these newer engines. So yeah, this is just my take on these early S197 Mustangs. Love you guys.